What's happening, people? What's going on? Any good? I don't have a clue as to where everybody is, but as I believe Gia Gryden said, if you put it on, they will come. So let's see what happens. Um, well, that I can't even blame anybody for this. This is me. Okay, it's Friday, and we all love Fridays. That's for sure. Stan, I hope that burn gets better, my brother. That absolutely sucks. You know. Um, but anyway, um, I have an absolute shitload of invites out there. Um, so apparently there's nobody there. I'm sorry, I was just reading the comments. Um, it's gonna be. I should change the title to the instead of the Quagmire, I should put open mic night. No pun intended. Um, so it's an open mic night. You have a mic. You have a cam. Say I in the comments. I'll send the invite. All right. So what's going on? What's going on in the news? Well, my BC Eagles lost tonight, 14-0. Not a good thing. So I'm gonna have to put my Auburn Tigers tomorrow. Uh, my son's high school team lost to my old high school team, which my nephew was playing on. So that kind of sucked. But it's Friday, and I'm happy. You know what I mean? But what else? What's going on? You guys tell me what's going on. What's going on? I'm gonna do a rundown here in a second. If I can stop getting uh, hey KK, what's up? All right, I have been a little bit Rick. I was gonna get into that too, but give me 1 second. I want to go do a rundown of sorts. See if I can go all the way back to the top. Can I go all the way back to the top? Let me see. No, I can't. Damn it. I know Jay Watt was here. Big Baby Zip. Galen Long. Gia Gride 19. How are you? Ricky Thomas. What's up? Mr. Stan Ulch. Bush Brother. What's going on? Car Carrier. What's happening? P-NAS guys. You made it. That's cool, brother. Uh, Mr. Cockerham, don't you answer your bell either? You don't answer your bell, Mr. Cockerham. And Mr. Cockerham, you really got to start making steak videos when I'm at work, hungry. Fun. What's happening? I know that, Rick. and I think that's awesome. You guys have always backed me. Everybody in there's always backed me, and it doesn't go unnoticed ever. And that's the truth. Um, Let me send a. Uh, Tommy, look in your bell. But Rick, you alluded to Mike, you prepping. Um, Not too. Thank you, Flan. Hey, FTS, what's happening? Uh, Rick, to answer your question, uh, not to like an extremity, just extremes. But yeah, um, just dry soups, canned veggies. I don't can, so I don't have any like canned, tomatoes or anything like that. Water. Uh, what else? That's about it, bro. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Oh, well, happy birthday to your son, Stan. That's awesome. Also understandable if you're not going to be around, obviously. But hey, Kelly, um, crab apple leather in a dehydrator. Huh. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Kelly, congratulations. Again. Um, what was I just going to ask? Oh, Mr. Cockerham, if you're still here, you need to lay your bell. Um, but at any rate, what are you guys up to? You guys, give me a subject, give me something to go with, and we'll chat. Can I what? Rick, I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry. Anyway, by a show of eyes in the comment section, who watched the debate the other night? CNN got a 14.6 rating. It's the highest rating since 1993, I believe. Cal, I mean, Flan. Go fund me. Rick, shoot me a PM on YouTube, and I'll get it there. Unless that was just you that did that. Oh, but anyway. Uh, wanted to ask you something last week about Dutch oven cooking. Yeah, what was the question? Duh. The token. What's up? Bush, what did I want to ask you? I remember because we were talking about Dutch ovens, weren't we? And I know 39 Camper had made, was getting me thinking on the Dutch oven because I was watching his videos. That he just bought a Dutch oven, so he's been cooking with it. And what was that question? That's going to bother me now. All right, Stan, have a good one, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Um, Swansea, do you have your it's kind of hard to try to talk and set all the stuff up all at the same time. Gear. Because you told me to go on gear. I'm just trying to get things done. Right on the token. Where did yeah, gear. I'm still trying to think, Bush brother. I'm not but uh yeah, gear. I was surprised on what you can do with a Dutch oven. It's kind of cool. I've been thinking of getting one. My wife almost bought me one. I says, nah. Um, yeah, Swans, I sent you one, bro. Um, he cooked for those who don't know what I'm talking about, when I was talking, referring to 39 Camper, he took his um, Dutch oven and he took the cover and he turned it upside down and then put the coals under that, and then he cooked bacon and eggs and all that stuff on the inside of the cover. Um, um, yeah, I'd shoot you a PM if I knew what the hell the question was going to be, my brother. Um, but anyway, and he's been cooking a lot with his Dutch oven, which is cool. I mean, that's what you get him for. But I've seen a lot of people. I've seen people put bannock. I've seen people actually do a cake. I've seen people obviously do stews and all that. And I think it's really kind of cool how how little effort. I mean, you just get your coals and you go. Um, you know. Uh, yeah, Bush. That's how his was too. He had legs on it. But it's pretty cool. I'd like to try it someday. I'm not a cook, but what the hell? I'll give it a try. Right on. Here you go, Blue. How's that? Is that better, Blue? Blue, get in here.
What's up, Mike?
What's going on, brother?
Not too much yourself?
Oh, not a whole hell of a lot.
You ever tried that dig a hole, put the coals in the bottom of the hole, put the Dutch oven in, put the coals on top type of cooking?
No, I have not.
That's the berry hole method that the Indians used to use.
I'm gonna have to try. My wife told me. My wife was at the store one day. She said, "Oh, I got this. I found this Dutch oven. Da da da." 'Cause I know you were asking for one, and I should have had to pick it up.
Oh, Dutch ovens are kick ass, man.
Yeah. No, to talk, they didn't have a conundrum tonight. Shama did a chat earlier, so um, that's why I'm starting tonight early because I thought John and them were on. So, but I want to try the Dutch oven so bad. It was kind of cool, and I think it was Bush that just said it. Um, was it Bush brother just said it, or was it somebody else that said he has the legs on his too?
Yeah, mine has the legs as well.
Yeah, and so you can, so then you know what I'm talking about. You flip it upside down,
Yep.
and you stick your coals onto that, and I'm just amazed how if you guys aren't sub to 39 camp, I'll go give them a look see. I'm amazed how few, like Gear Gryden said, how few coals it took to do that. You know, Blue, look in your bell, kid. I sent you a link.
That and you can cook a lot on the underside of the lid itself too.
Yeah. Yep. But I'm gonna give it a try. Here's a silly question: can you do it in the winter without cracking the fucking steel?
The only thing with if you're gonna do it in the wintertime, you can with a cast iron.
Yep.
Because I use a cast iron one, but you've got to let it warm up gradually.
Okay.
And it's got to be seasoned well. You can't have a piece of shit, cast iron frying pan and throw it on hot heat when it's freezing cold. You got to do the
Right.
same thing. You got to heat it up gradually. Throw it on the stones next to the fire or whatever.
Yep.
But you remember back in the colonial days, that's all they cooked it.
Right.
They had
Exactly.
fireplace hooks that would actually swivel back and forth, and they'd hang it from the hook up above the fire.
That and like brick ovens,
Right. Yeah, build a pizza oven and don't season it a few times, and all of a sudden that shit cracks right in half.
Oh yeah. I was watching. It's an old video, but Boss of the Swamp.
Oh yeah, yep.
Really. Yeah, he bought a couple of old cast iron frying pans. And they were, he bought them at a flea market or whatever, so they're all rusted and they look like ass.
Yep.
He brought them right back to life.
Oh yeah, you oil that shit up, throw them on the grill or throw them in the oven for a while at 500 degrees. It'll reabsorb, scrub the shit out, and they're like brand new again.
Scrubbed it out, and then he did it all over again.
Yeah, you got to keep.
You know what I mean? He did that. Yep, he kept doing that process, and it came right back. I had this argument up north on they were cooking a cast. They were cooking bacon and eggs, and I think they were doing the bacon in the cast. And one of the kids went to wash it. Afterwards, says, "I'll take care of it, hon." And she says, "No, Uncle Mike, I'll do it. I'm doing it now." And I said, "Yeah, but you really shouldn't use that on there. So I'll take care of it." So
yeah, you definitely don't want to use the soap and water method.
Yeah. And I just found out you're not supposed to use soap and water on wooden utensils either.
No, you're not supposed to use anything. No detergents.
I never knew that. I never knew that.
Well, it's like people that put good pans in a dishwasher. That'll kill them quick.
Yep.
So I heard you were up in my country the other day, and it was pretty foggy, huh, brother?
Oh, dude, I was up at I was on Swansea Lake Road.
No shit, right by my house.
Yep, Swansea Lake Road. I was there over at Johnson's.
Oh, that's literally right around the corner from my house.
I was talking to him about digging.
Yep.
And he's been there. His house has been there since like 1729 or something.
Yep.
He doesn't want anybody digging his yard.
A lot of people in this town are like that.
But he said, whoever owns the farm across the street from him, doesn't give a rat's ass. You can dig in there all you want. Just ask for permission to do it.
That's the Hills.
So, yeah, I don't know if you've ever dug in there.
I haven't, but the last name is Hill, and they actually own another house down around the corner on Sawyer's Crossing Road.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called Hills Engineering.
So, did they ever fix that? I drove by. You think I would know this? Did they fix that bridge yet?
Which one?
The one if you come in off of Route 12. I mean, if you're coming off of 32,
Yep.
you take the left onto Swansea Lake Road, and then there's a bridge that comes in on your left.
You're talking about the Carlton Road covered bridge?
I don't think it was a covered bridge. I just think it was a bridge that was out for a long time.
Oh no, you're talking about the slate bridge that was there.
Yeah, because I was in Winchester. No,
Yep.
it wasn't Winchester. And
Winchester's on Route 10.
Yeah, I came in Route 10 one time, and I came in 10 to 32 or whatever, and I went over that bridge once, like when I first started my job, like 9 years ago.
Yep.
And then they closed it after that.
Yeah, the Holcomb Bridge coming between Winchester and Swansea has never reopened.
Right. But then, so I took that bridge. I took a left. I was on Swansea Lake Road.
Yep. Yeah, that slate bridge they replaced 2 years ago, I think it was.
Cool. Yeah, no scrubbing. What was I just missed that in the yeah, bush said to clean it, just let it cool. Use warm water and scrub it, toss it in the warm. Then you
Yep.
to warm. Use lard and wipe it down with it, toss it back in. Yep. That's FTS. It was this gentleman's house that I deliver sign products to, sign supplies to. His house is built in 1729.
So what the hell was up with that car fire you saw the other day?
Oh, dude. So it's the end of the day, and I go fuel up the truck, and I jump on. I says, and I'm coming down this road, and I says, Jesus Christ! He goes, fucking smoke. I didn't think nothing of it. I jump on the highway. I'm like, oh Jesus! And there wasn't one fire engine, one state cop, one anybody. And if you look real close in that video, there's like a white little thing in the middle of all that green. That was the guy. He was standing there with a white T-shirt on. He wasn't too happy.
Any idea what the hell caused that?
No. Nope. Didn't even see nothing in the newspaper about it either.
Yeah, it's pretty common up here. Something like that happens, it doesn't make the news, but if somebody has a gay rights parade, it's all over the fucking front page.
Right. I think that a lot of the times I've seen a lot of them start was when like there's a piece of cardboard or something, like a cardboard box or a bunch of paper on the highway, and people just drive over it. Of course, they don't understand that it gets caught up underneath, and after a while causes a fire. So,
or a plastic bag.
Right.
Hits the muffler, all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah. And people don't get that,
I'll tell you what, last summer I had it happen with my riding lawnmower. Didn't realize that a mouse had gotten into my shed, created a nest inside the carburetor of my lawnmower, started up the lawnmower. All of a sudden there's a huge fire with all that nesting material.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty nasty.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, so all the way in, because I had to I came in a different way. Usually I come out Route 2 to Route 12
Yep.
to 140, and then
coming in through Winchendon, Mass.
Winchendon, Mass. But I had to change it up. I had to stop in Pepperell, Mass. And when I left Pepperell, I had to stop in Jaffrey. So when I left Jaffrey, I came down I came down 119 to 202. I mean,
Yep.
202 to 119. Took it right on.
Yeah, 202 to 119. Yep.
Followed that out to Route 12. I know there's a different way I could have went. It would have dumped me off right before Troy Center, but
Right.
I forget whether I can go on there with the truck or not. So I said, screw it, I'll just go this way.
Looked like you were driving in a Zuzu cab over.
I was.
Yeah, the NPR or something like that.
Yeah.
I drove those for many years. I recognized how you had your dashboard, then your bumper,
Yep. That's
and
it.
the door handle on the top, right below the window.
Yep.
When those things get in an accident, you're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if that release pin drops and your cab flips over forward.
Oh, that would suck.
Oh
That'd be a
yeah,
bad.
I had it happen down in Amherst, Mass, probably 10 years ago. A guy broke down in the middle of the. We were going down into Worcester, right where that exit comes out of off of Route. I think it's one. No, it's not 140 at that point. The Worcester exit coming out of Massachusetts, coming out of Winchendon and everything else. You get that sharp right
Oh,
exit that comes
Route
out
2.
2, 3 lanes.
Yeah.
Guy broke down, engine failed right in front of me. I hit the back end of a flatbed with one of those NPRs. The bumper hit the back of that flatbed. My whole cab released right forward.
Oh,
So I'm hanging by my seatbelt, looking down at the back of the flatbed of that truck.
wow. Hey, Oily, how are you? Oily's Chelsea with you? Hi, Chelsea. I gotta say hi to Chelsea. It's Oily's granddaughter. She always points to, hey, Saint, what's up? Um, so here's a little news. So up here in Boston, there was a little girl's body found over at Deer Island, which is part of Boston Harbor, and she was in a bag and all that, and this was months ago, and they couldn't find the, you know, well, Oily, tell Chelsea Mike says hello, okay? Um, and they couldn't find the parents or guardian, whatever. Uh, and of course, they couldn't recognize her. They couldn't do a. Do you know how they found out who she was? You ready for this one? Pollen from a tree. And they sent out to a lab because they couldn't use hair follicles and all that for DNA and everything. So it was pollen from a tree. Anyways, long story short, they found the parents. So now the parents are, pointing fingers at each other. And because I live in Massachusetts, I'm not going to get the chance to watch them fry. Um, but it just takes all kinds, you know. Uh, and I just hope to Christ that karma's a bitch, you know, because my belief is that the fucking parents should be thrown in the bag in the ocean.
I agree.
Because I don't have especially when it comes to a kid, I don't have a heart. I don't have fuck justice, fuck the laws, fuck them all. You know, I
Mike, that's what
strongly
it should really go back to is the Hammurabi Law Code.
on the what?
The Hammurabi Law Code. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Oh, absolutely.
You killed your kid, you're dead. And kill the parent the same way they killed the child.
Yep. And and here's the thing. They're gonna sit in a jail. She's gonna go to probably, I don't know. She'll either go to Shirley, Mass, or they might even transfer her ass up to Bascombe, New Hampshire. Um, God only knows where they'll put the other piece of shit. But okay, so here's a case like this. They know that those two parents are responsible for doing it. then if you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, okay, why do you need? You, you should be able just to give him the death penalty right off the bat without any appeals or anything like that. Throw all that bullshit out the window. You did it, and now you're gonna pay for it. Nope. But now we're gonna stick him in a jail cell somewhere, and we're gonna they're gonna live better now than they did before. Just that they're
And we're
gonna
going to
glue him in
spend
this.
$50,000 to $70,000 a year to keep them alive.
Right. And they're gonna their only problem is they're gonna live in a 6x9. Other
Right.
than that, they're getting 3 squares a day. They get reading materials. They got TV rights. They get it all.
Well, it's no different than, I don't want to bring up a different topic, but the Boston bomber.
Yeah.
Why is he alive?
I don't know. Well, he's out in Colorado now. Um, but he's he I don't think his appeals come up yet, but he lost his you know they uh the jury found him to be to death by his sentencing was death by injection. So
Right. Shouldn't that be done in the state that it was committed, though?
I think so. I think it
I
should be
do
done on
too.
a public street so people can watch it. Because I love
I'd
to
pay
watch.
for a ticket to that event.
Oh, absolutely.
New Hampshire's legal death penalty was hanging for the longest time.
Yep.
They should keep that shit alive.
But they have it and they don't use it.
Right, exactly. Never used it.
Like the asshole that, well, quite a few years ago. Let me see. I was still drinking, so it had to be in the '90s, the late '90s. When the guy left the town hall, shot the people at the town hall, then he shot the cops up north.
Yep.
He never got the death penalty.
No, he got life in prison.
Who else? All the two assholes that broke into, what was it, Sanborn or Sandown? Where the hell was it? They chopped the shit out of the mother. They stabbed the shit out of her, and they sliced the 13-year-old's throat, but the 13-year-old lived.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was in Vermont, though.
No, I thought that was New Hampshire.
No, that was in Vermont.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm 90% sure. I'm actually Googling it right now as you said that.
Oily, I agree with you 110%. And this is why I have a problem with the death penalty. However, like you just said, you have somebody on video and you see him committing a heinous act like that, or what have you, guess what? Put a bullet in their head. It's 38 cents a bullet. But here's my thing. You don't get an appeal.
There's no reason for an appeal.
The Boston bomber doesn't get an appeal. So here's the deal. He leaves that courtroom. He's found guilty. They take him out back and they put a bullet in his head. He's all done. Frank Sainer was in New Hampshire. And that's all done. Now, people
That's
are going
right.
to cry. That's barbaric. Fine, it's barbaric. Put him in a jail cell. Give him a hay fuzz. Put him in a jail cell. Put him in a chair. Inject him. Let him go to sleep.
No last meal. No final wishes. No final phone
Right.
call. You're done.
Just kill the bastard.
Yep, I agree.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. If somebody had ever done that to one of my family members, it's all over, dude. It's all over.
The worst thing about that, Mike, when people have revenge on that, not even just New Hampshire, but across the country, say father shows up in a courtroom on a case like that and shoots the guy outside the courtroom, gets away through the barriers, gets to shoot the guy. He gets put on trial and he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life and possibly face the death penalty, whatever. But that person was going to be housed and convicted, put on death row for 10, 15, 20 years. it's not fair. I do the same thing as you, man. If somebody harmed my daughter, I can guarantee you I'd either
Uh,
shoot their ass myself.
but they'd never see me because I go get my buddy's 308.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'll shoot you 500 yards away. You won't even know I'm there.
Yep.
You won't even know I'm there. See you later. You'll hit a gunshot. That's about it.
I
See you
agree.
later.
Not a
Um,
chance I wouldn't have my revenge.
I just don't. My favorite one. I said this on my chat before, but my favorite one was the guy was down south somewhere. This guy kidnapped his kid, and did wrong things to him, then he killed him. Uh, and the marshals went down to get him, and so the father of the boy was pretending like he was on the phone in an airport, and here come the two marshals with the dickhead in the middle, and the father come off the phone like pretending he was on the phone. He come off, he looked over his shoulder, made sure they were coming. They were coming. He went just like this, boom, dead.
Yep.
Like, yes.
Justice.
He never served a day in jail.
Nor
Uh,
should he.
he was on Oprah Winfrey, the only Oprah Winfrey show I ever saw, and yeah, it's that's justice. That's the way it should be. Um,
I'll share a small, short story with you.
Go ahead.
My wife's grandmother was killed right here in Keene, New Hampshire, next town over from me,
Yeah.
by a drunk driver flying down the road, T-boned her right on the driver's side door of her car, killed her instantly. The guy went to jail for 1 year, got 5 years probation, and he still lives in the city of Keene and walks the streets. What's your opinion on that?
I actually thought it was a 7 year bid. I actually thought you had to do 7 years. Um,
He did one with called reckless endangerment and aggravated DWI. Did 1 year in Concord.
oh, first of all, he knew somebody who got reckless endangerment. Okay, he already had money, one or the
That's
other.
my guess too, is the money factor. Yep.
There's a lot. The laws. I don't. I think that's a federal thing. So I think the law is 7 years on a vehicular because it's really vehicular homicide.
It is now.
Uh,
This was 15 years ago.
okay. Um, I don't look. And by the way, that sucks. Okay, number one, obviously.
Right.
Um, however, I don't. A case like that, case like a barroom fight or something, I don't look at that as murder. I look at that as like like the law is vehicular homicide because there was no malice aforethought, i.e., intent of anybody going out and killing anybody. Now you could say, once that bartender gave him that fourth beer, whatever mixed drink, whatever the hell he was drinking, or he was at his house and he knew he was buzzed, he knew there was a potential. Well, that's still not the malice aforethought of going out to kill somebody. Um, so, do I still think he should have jail time? Oh, absolutely. You should whatever the maximum is. If the maximum is 7 years, you should have to do the max. Um, and you would also have to, when you get out, you would. Well, civil is a different case, but as part of the criminal case, I would make that person do something that he or she would never forget what he did or she did. I don't care whether it's going to visit the gravesite. I don't care whether it's um, anything. Name something for that person that he would have to or she would have to remember each and every day what they did and what they caused and all the pain and suffering they caused that family of the person lost. Um,
And the worst part, Mike, for me is that this guy has his driver's license and he drives the same streets every single day through the city of Keene.
Well, see, now that I don't understand. That I think if you have vehicular homicide, that should be part of it. That you don't get to have a driver's license back. I've had a DUI. I didn't get Cinderella license. Um, I don't see how he got his back. I
Like you
think
said,
that
either
should
the money or good lawyers because he's got the money.
I think that should be mandatory because you have mandatory 5 years loss of license for like your second DUI without accident, without injury or accident occurring. You lose it for is it 5 years in your second one or 3 years or your third one?
I think that's your third one.
But you automatically lose it for 5 years.
Hey, Blue.
So how
What's
he?
happening?
Hey, Blue, what's up?
Same old, same
Blue,
old.
Blue, help us out a little bit. Is it the third DUI offense is 5 years?
5 years what?
5 years loss of license.
Oh god, that varies state by state,
Oh, it
and
does it?
also,
Okay, I thought
yeah,
that.
and
Okay, I
now
thought that.
they vary it by level of intox because most states have gone to like a tier level. Like you have the point oh 0.08 to 0.10, point 0.10 to 0.16, and then 0.16 and above. So they have it tiered off in a lot of places.
Right,
Okay.
whether it becomes DWI or aggravated DWI and so on.
Right.
I never knew that part. I never knew they had it. The only thing I knew is that like my wife, because she's a nurse, and guys with their CDLs can't blow more than a .04.
CDL, that's not if you're in a truck in your
Yeah,
CDL, yeah, you can't be that. But if you're in your personal
yeah.
car, you're still, you're just like everybody else. But they'll still suspend your CDL.
No, you're still getting suspended. Um, and my wife, she's a nurse, and she said that she can't because she'll lose her license. So I don't know if that's something new or what have you. But
Just don't drink. You ain't got to worry about it.
I don't. I learned my lesson.
Or
Finally.
if you
So did I.
freaking drink, stay on the back deck and talk on chats.
There you go.
Exactly what I
There
do,
you
Blue.
go.
That's fine
That's
too.
what you do.
Because you're not hurting anybody.
My liver would
And
disagree.
again, I'm not. I'm not sitting here claiming perfection by any stretch of the imagination.
You shouldn't
I
masturbate
did
on
it
camera.
right.
Shouldn't do
My
that.
hands here. um, unfortunately, I drove drunk more probably times than I drove sober. Um, and to me, I just look at it as being lucky. Lucky that I didn't hurt anybody. Um, and that I was only caught once.
And once was enough, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, finally. Once was enough. That was over 14 and a half years ago. And I haven't picked up a drink since. So, but I didn't quit drinking because I got arrested for DUI. I quit drinking because I just couldn't do it anymore. I got tired
Plus, look at all the money you're saving.
I got tired of seeing my name in the newspaper.
That's just like I just learned the other day. Some dumbass in his personal vehicle hit a car, left a scene, figured out who it was, ended up citing him for accidents involving unattended vehicle or property. Not that huge of a thing, really, but he had a CDL and he was in his personal vehicle when he did it. It wasn't a truck or anything, but they suspended his CDL for a year for a violation with his regular car. I was like, no shit.
Yeah, CDLs, and it's hard once you have a DUI too. It's hard getting in, because like I wanted to get my CDLA, and they'll give me a hard time because of my DUI, and I just have a DUI. I don't have incident with it, you know. Um, not that again, not that I'm better than anybody else. It's just you know what I'm saying.
Now, can you in your state, can you get that expunged since it was your first and only?
Um, I can.
It's going to cost you some money, I'm sure.
It's going to cost me some money because I'm also actually looking into seeing if I, because of that other charge I have, I told you I have. Um, I'm looking to see if I can get those off, so I can get my concealed carry permit. So um, we'll see.
See, and that's the one thing they should be able to look. I mean, there's some people that no matter what, and I'm going to catch some flack from the it's my constitutional right to carry, but people like you that you messed up a long time ago. You've kept your nose clean for how many years now? There should be
Almost
something.
15.
Yeah, there should be
Almost
something
15
in there
years.
that says, look, you're good to go.
Well, and this is why this is why sometimes I agree with the extreme constitutionalists, and I'm not making fun. I'm just saying that if it says, you know, as long as you're not a felon, and if that's the way the law is written, if you're not a felon, you can have a gun permit. Well, if it's written like that, then guys like me and girls like me ought to be able, that aren't felons, ought to be able to have their gun permit if they so choose to have one. Um, because I don't have a felony. So I get pissy when they write a law and then they decide, or they write a law, the state writes the law, and then they give the individual chief of police of the police departments the stroke to say yes or no, and I think that sucks. You know.
Yeah, and that for me personally kind of hits on two different levels because there is, in my state, it's felon. If you're a felon, you can't own. But if
But
federal law says something, don't quote me on this, but it's something if you're convicted of a crime where you can serve 3 or more years in jail, that automatically puts you as a disqualified. Well, we not too long ago we had it was years ago that the incident happened where, long story short, guy, you know, domestic violence, this, that, everything else. He takes a 22 rifle to his wife's workplace, threatens her, and in our state, that is, you get the ag assault, you get the terroristic threats, you get all that shit. Well,
yep.
PA law, what he got convicted of, didn't send him over the you're not allowed to have any firearms. Federal law, he was not allowed, no doubt. But the judge ordered us to give him back his 22 rifle. Well, 8 years later, another domestic violence call comes in, and he shoots his wife with that same gun that we gave him back, and he shoots a state trooper with that same gun and kills him, and then turns it on himself and kills himself. So it's kind of it's a catch-22. I'm all for gun rights, every bit of it, but there's got to be a happy medium.
Right. Yep. I'm with you. I just think Fuzz said that even a felon who served his time should have his gun rights restored. I would say, depending upon the felony, Fuzz.
And what he does after he gets out. I mean, if he becomes an upstanding citizen, job, kids, this, that, everything else, it 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 should be kind of person dependent.
But how can you really regulate that? I mean, a guy gets out of jail, he's an upstanding citizen for 2 years. All of a sudden, he snaps and shoots somebody. I mean, how do you judge that form of character? You can't judge when somebody's going to snap.
Right, and that's why they have the regulations like they have them.
Right.
I would think if anybody has a violent crime, you get out of jail, and I hate to say it because I'm a very big gun advocate. If you're convicted of a violent crime and you get out of jail, I don't care how long you've been out, you're probably going to be restricted as to what type of weapons you should be able to legally hold. Even if you can't legally hold them, you're still going to get them illegally anyway.
Right.
Let me see, Frank, are you still here? Frank, if you're still here, say hi, Mike. I'm still here because I want to ask you a question, and I want to say something to that thing, but I want to make sure I'm not giving out misinformation because nothing will piss me off more if I do that. You're right, non-violent crime, but now that non-violent crime, now you're going to get into. It shouldn't be generalized from what Paras and Gorilla said, and yeah, but what do you call? Yes, Facebook, we do, because that's another one that's killing me. A non-violent crime. However, you're caught with, I don't know, 10 kilos of coke. Yeah, I'm not giving you a gun. Sorry.
An ounce
It's
of
not
weed.
gonna happen. Ounce of weed is different. Ounce of weed. I know I'm not supposed to separate drugs, but I do. Weed's weed. But if you got 10 trash bags in your pickup truck full of weed, yeah, you're not having a gun.
Hey, Mikey.
What?
Ask me how many times I've gone to a house that smells like weed and there's a big violent brawl going on versus gone to a house with a bunch of people drinking and there's a big fucking violent brawl going on.
Exactly. Okay, Frank is here. Frank, let me ask you a question. Have you seen the new gun laws in Massachusetts last summer? Not this past summer, the summer of 14, in August of 14. They changed it. They changed something where Massachusetts used to have a quote-unquote have to license, which was our FID card, which meant as long as you weren't a felon with a violent act or drug dealing with a gun, if you were caught drug dealing with a gun and all this crap, that they have to give you an FID card. And now they're saying that you don't have to have an FID card. That they have, those aren't have tos anymore. And my problem is that if they do that, I already have one. So when I re-up, I want to know if they can screw me. Plus, I'm with you on
anytime they want.
Yeah. Plus,
I mean, we don't need ID cards here in Minnesota.
Yep.
We can buy and sell whatever we want. We do have to have at least a permit to purchase for handguns, or a permit to carry, one or the other. And a permit to purchase doesn't cost you anything, but you still need to have it.
Is that open carry or just concealed?
We can open carry in either one. We have to have a permit to carry, period.
Oh, okay.
Right.
New Hampshire, you don't have to have a permit to open carry. You have to have a permit to concealed.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to have the permit to conceal in Mass. Your permit is to conceal, period.
Out of all the time that I've open carried, for the most part, usually I have a shirt hanging down covering part of my gun, but
right.
The first time anyone ever said anything to me was Saturday. When I was on my way up to the wedding, I stopped to pick up a new shirt. And somebody said, "Oh, you got a gun? You gonna shoot somebody?" I said, "Well, it's not the plan, but if somebody pisses me or attacks me and threatens my life, I'm gonna shoot them. Plain and simple."
Good answer.
All right, so here's...
Yeah, it's not my plan. I don't plan to shoot nobody. I don't want to, but if I have to, I have to.
So I went on the mass.gov, all right, which is the Massachusetts.gov site, and so it's a real site. It's not Wikipedia. And the gun laws on August 2014. Oh, am I still there? Why did it go right to Rita? No, I just want to read it from there, you nitwit. I thought it was going to be right here. I'll have to go back to the start way here. 2004, license to carry A or B resident. Non-residents carrying firearms, rifle and shotgun, large capacity weapon feed.
In the meantime, Mike, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Can you carry your firearm, whether it's a pistol, whatever, into New Hampshire? Because I don't know this. I'm ignorant to this law. Can you come into New Hampshire with a firearm? Because I can't go into Massachusetts with mine.
No, I cannot. Here's what I can do. I'm going to go to Swansea's house to go hunting.
Yep.
Okay, Swansea lives in New Hampshire. Okay. My shotgun has to be unloaded. It has to be in a bag, or what do you call it? I call them bags. A carrying case.
Yep.
Okay. It being, a hard cover, or hard case, or cloth case, it's okay.
Unloaded.
Unloaded. Ammo has to be in the glove box or somewhere away from. Cannot be in the same area. Cannot be in the same area as the gun. Most people just put it in the glove box. And I can carry it through. Just like everywhere else, if I get stopped by the police, I have to notify the officer that I do have it on me, well, in my vehicle,
Yep.
But yes, I can. Can you carry a loaded weapon? Not unless you, by the way, you can. You personally can, because of your job. You can go to 50 states and carry because of what you do for a living. I just found that out too. On your creds, you can carry in all 50 states.
Isn't Massachusetts state law coming from the state of New Hampshire into the state of Massachusetts? You cannot cross the border with any firearm in your vehicle.
No. It's a handgun. That's the one you're thinking of.
I only use handguns.
It's a loaded handgun, and it's for non-licensed, what do you call it? It's supposed to be a mandatory 1 year in jail. There's been people that's been caught and nobody's ever gone to jail for it. It's only for a handgun, though.
So you're telling me I can drive from the state of New Hampshire to the state of Massachusetts with an unloaded handgun?
I was talking to Blue. Jesus Christ, Swansea. I'm sorry. You can come from New Hampshire to my house with a shotgun in your car. It cannot be loaded. You can come with your New Hampshire concealed permit. You can go from your house to my house. It cannot be loaded. It has to be in your trunk. The ammo has to be in your glove box, away from the firearm. Okay. You guys' voices sound alike, so you guys got me screwed up because I was looking up that gun law.
That's all right.
The only time you can do this, that's why I said you can carry it in all 50 states, because you do your thing, because I thought you were Blue. Police officers get to carry in all 50 states because of their creds.
Right.
But we don't. However, you can go from your house, go to Vermont, then go to your house, then go to Maine, then go from Maine back to New Hampshire, back to Vermont with no problem whatsoever with a loaded handgun.
Correct. But not Massachusetts.
Not in Massachusetts.
And why is that?
It's their what do you call it? What's that word of that law I'm looking for? That
Reciprocatory.
Thank you, Blue. Yeah, it's a reciprocatory law, and we don't have that here.
Okay.
Sorry, I wish we did, but we don't. I'm trying to find this.
Well, there was somewhere, and I could have sworn it was a police officer from New York went to New Jersey, and I think it was a female officer. She went to New Jersey, didn't do anything. She just got stopped for, a traffic infraction. She made sure she let everybody know, hey, look, I'm a cop, and I'm carrying, and they all flipped out because she had, what the hell did she have? Was it hollow points or something? Like New Jersey, you're not allowed to have hollow points.
Well, yeah, because
And they
I
arrested
know.
her. They freaking
Yes.
arrested her.
Yes, because she had hollow points.
Yeah, the federal courts finally
Yes.
overruled because, I mean, that's what she duty carries. That's what she qualified for, and they overturned the arrest. But damn, if some states are willing to, put other law enforcement through that are, qualified, certified, and everything else, it's like, God, what are they going to do to the general public?
All right, well, Blue, you may know this answer too. Is there a way to be qualified or certified to cross from, say, my state of New Hampshire into Massachusetts with the firearm? Because again, I metal detect, and I go to farm sites, and I go to cellar holes down in Massachusetts. That's the only reason I carry when I metal detect, was because I go out in the woods, I go out to cellar holes out in the middle of nowhere. Is there a way to bypass that?
I'm gonna tell you right now because I'm looking up the mass laws on it. Non-resident carrying gun.
Because I can go into Vermont, Maine with no problem. It's just Massachusetts.
That's because they have constitutional carry there.
Yeah, if you can find a like a permit or a class that, because there are some out there that like, I think they cover, I think it's 45 states or something like that, that is with that reciprocity agreement with 45 different states. If you pay the 200 and some odd dollars and you get that license, you'll be good to go. But it's costly, and make sure without a doubt you check like if you get I'm just off the top of my head, let's just say for whatever reason it's the state of Utah has reciprocity agreements with, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, everything else, you're good to go. But if your home state does not have a reciprocity agreement with the state you're traveling to, you're screwed.
That's pretty much what it sounds like between New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
It just forwarded me to something else. It keeps forwarding me to the Joint Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. I don't know why. It's kind of weird.
Hey, dishes in the house.
There's another one that hasn't. Why can't I find it? Huh. Let me Google it again. I'll use a different engine.
And that's even like in our state. Let's say that you don't have a concealed permit carry, and you're having. They're popular around here. They have. I think cops should not carry off duty. Yeah, that might happen. But anyway, you have. Oh heck, like these Second Amendment rallies where people come out and they open carry, they walk down the streets. They're not doing anything wrong. But if you don't have a concealed carry permit and you transport a firearm in your vehicle from your house to where the rally is to begin, you can actually get hit with, not having your proper documentation to have a concealed carry, because once it's in your car, it's considered concealed unless you're going to or from a gun shop, to or from a target range, or, something of that nature.
That's exactly what it says from New Hampshire to Vermont. It says, handguns allowed possession by a non-resident for the purpose of attending the following: competition, a meeting, or exhibition of any organized firearm group or hunting is allowed. Not allowed anything from the accession up above. So basically, I can't go across state lines with a firearm without being invited or going to a competition or firearm exhibition.
All right, and to reply to Gridiron 19, if you're not clocked in, you shouldn't have copyrights. So if you are not carrying and somebody's trying to rob you or rape you, your wife, your kids, whatever, and there's a cop there that's off duty that's carrying, they shouldn't have the right to protect you. Well, to each his own. But I got to go kill a spider for the wife. I'll be back in a second.
I was a little late to the party tonight.
What's up?
How you doing?
Not too bad. This is just irritating the hell out of me. I can't. What's it say? It says, when do I not need a non-resident license to carry? Mass General Law, C-140, Section 131G is very clear about this, and it says, any person who is not a resident of the Commonwealth may carry a pistol or revolver in or through the Commonwealth for the purposes of taking part in a pistol or revolver competition or attending any meeting or exhibition of any organized group of firearm collectors, or for the purpose of hunting, provided that such person is a resident of the United States and has a permit or license to carry firearms issued under the laws of any state, district, or territory thereof, which has licensing requirements which prohibit the issuance of permits or licenses to persons who have been convicted of a felony or have been convicted of the unlawful use, possession, or sale of narcotic or harmful drugs, provided further that in the case of a person traveling in or through the Commonwealth for the purpose of hunting, he has on his person a hunting license issued by Mass or by the state of his destination. Police officers and other peace officers of any state, territory, jurisdiction within the United States duly authorized to possess firearms by laws, therefore shall, for the purpose of this section, be deemed to have a permit. So, I don't know. This is all it's Massachusetts, so it sucks. So it's driving me absolutely shit. I was trying to find your answer.
The spiders,
Goddamn massholes.
Right.
Yay for dead spiders!
dead spiders. But anyway, yeah, I'm not, just for the people in the comment section, I'm might be law enforcement, but I'm 110%, Second Amendment. If you're good to go with carrying a gun and you're not a violent felon or anything, the way I look at it is if my ass is in trouble at a traffic stop or whatever it be, and somebody carrying happens to roll by and say, "Oh shit, there's a cop in trouble," and I would rather have 40 people that carry guns versus me and a bad guy than, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not downing people that carry it all. I'm just downing some comments.
My brother's with you.
Well, here's a question for you, Blue. Being that you are a law officer, if you were in a traffic stop, do you prefer to have somebody that's carrying concealed announce that they are, so that you
absolutely.
know?
Yeah. Yep. And if they say that they're
carrying,
carrying,
a lot about that.
Yeah, if they say they're carrying, 9 times out of 10, I don't. Guys like, where's the gun at? And they're like, well, it's on my hip, or it's in the glove compartment, or it's in my center console. And I kind of laugh a little bit. I'm like, well, if you don't grab yours, I won't grab mine. It's one,
And there you go. Cause that's the way I would feel. But I've talked to some officers here in Minnesota, and they just don't want to know. They say, if you don't know, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Just seems like the right thing to do to notify.
I have no problem telling
the guy that taught my class had actually advised that, if we get pulled over, hand him your driver's license and your permit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well,
and then they can ask questions from there.
Dumbass me gave a cop my FID card one day instead of my driver's license with my registration on. Here you go. And he goes, "You just gave me your FID card, not your driver's license." I'm like, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Here you go." And he says, "By the way," he says, do you have any firearms in the car with you?" I said, "I do not have any firearms, no." And he said, "Do you have any other?" I said, "I have ammo." He said, "Where's the ammo?" I said, "It's in my glove box." He said, "Okay." He says, "Do you have any weapons in the car?" I says, "Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 knives in that green bag in the back seat, and I have a bow with about 4 arrows in it, in the trunk. And he said, okay, cool. And he said, but no guns, right? I says, nope, no guns whatsoever. He says, all right. He says, I believe you.
I've usually found that officers are much more I don't want to much more understanding if you're straight up with them.
Yeah.
You just tell them. Is that true, Blue?
Oh yeah, yeah. If and you have to look at it this way, if you hand your, nobody, well, in our state, you don't have to announce that you're carrying. But if you are, and you hand me your driver's license, registration, insurance, and you're like, well, here's my concealed carry, and I've got one in the car. Yeah, I would rather know up front than catch a peek of it protruding from your shirt, and then because it's just that you get that extra level of oh shit until you figure out what's going on.
Right.
Right. Let's avoid the oh shit moments as much
Yes,
as we can.
absolutely.
Yeah. Alaska, I think it's a must notify.
Shit, I think in Alaska they just assume.
They got grizzly bears up there.
Everybody, and they don't carry no little friggin' dinky fucking. Is Michelle still in
Oh,
here?
they carry bear medicine up there. Carry
Michelle's
no
still
goddamn
in there.
tree.
They don't carry a little nano. You know what I mean?
No, right.
They're all carrying 44s. Friggin' Desert Eagles. They're carrying all the big shit.
Yeah,
Well, up
and,
in the
and
woods
seriously,
there.
and all of my, I've been doing this. I've been doing law enforcement for 15 years, and in that 15 years, I have only ever once whacked somebody for not having a concealed permit and having a gun concealed due to the simple fact I was on a traffic stop. It was at night, and one of the areas that we know is, crime-ridden, drug-ridden, everything else. They go to grab their registration out of the glove box. They open the glove box. The gun literally starts falling out of the glove box, and they hurry up and they shove it in and they slam the glove box shut. You talk about an asshole puckering moment. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Right.
And it was like,
When I drive, my 9
Really?
millimeters sitting on the passenger side seat, unloaded, clips out. That's the way I drive, and that's what I think they require that in the state of New Hampshire anyway. It's supposed to be unloaded unless you have a concealed carry permit. If you have an open carry, it's supposed to be unloaded, invisible, or you tell the police officer when you get pulled over. So if I got pulled over for speeding a couple of weeks ago, and I said to the officer, I said, I have a P95 sitting on my passenger side seat, the clips in the glove box. He had no problem with that. He said, thank you for telling me about it right up front. And then we carried on. The guy was perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, and as well they will be. Like Lou said when he had and that just I don't know. It just seems to make things go easier.
It's common sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
Jesus, I didn't even have a gun on me. Yes, Batman, I do love Michelle, and she knows it, but not the way you're thinking about. So, but I didn't even have a gun or a knife or anything in my car one time, and I couldn't find my wallet, and I called my wife as I was being pulled over, and she says, "Oh, your wallet's in the bag." And I'm like, "Oh, geez." She says, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm getting pulled over." I says, "I can't be going through a bag." I says, "No, I can't. I have to wait for him now." So I waited for him to come to the door, and I'm still talking to her, and I said, "I gotta go because he's here at the door now, you know." And I said, "I'm sorry, officer." I was talking to my wife. I says, "I have an issue." He says, "What's that?" I said, "My wallet's in my bag." And he says, "Which bag?" I says, "This one." I said, "But apparently it's in the bottom of the bag, and I didn't want to be going, shuffling through the bag on you, you know." He just looked at me. He goes, "Somebody in law enforcement?" And I go, "Yeah, but I knew this when I was 18. I was in like this Police Explorers program, and they taught us that when I was like 18 years old." They said, "You guys want to see our hands usually," and kind of eases your. Uh, he says, "No, you're doing everything right." He says, "Whereabouts is right here?" So, he said, "Yeah, go ahead, get it." You know. and I did it, and that was cool. And he told me, he says, I'm going to tell you something. He says, if this was at night and you didn't say anything about the bag, he says, I see you going through the bag. He says, yeah, you and I are going to have a little issue. He says, I'm going to tell you, get your hands off the bag. You know, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem any time whatsoever with a cop trying to protect himself. I mean, this is what's funny. Some people jump all over these cops, and yet we're protecting ourselves with our guns, right? Yet people get pissy when they want to protect themselves.
That's Mikey, along that same lines. That's why I love people that argue, oh, we're militarizing our police force. We're doing this. We're doing that. They have AR-15s. They have this. You know what? How many freaking people have AR-15s? How many people have this? I mean, I realize that 99.9% of the people that own these are law-abiding citizens. Absolutely. But what if that law-abiding citizen goes off and wants to shoot at us with AR-15s? You want us to go into that with pistols and a patrol car? No, you need a little bit heavier armor. I mean, I see both sides of the argument. It's just that, I don't want to say they're extremists, but you have the people that are like, well, they're running around in SWAT gear every day. Well, they're doing it for a reason, because unfortunately the citizenry has brought them to that. Not all the citizens, but that 1% that screws it for everybody.
And
I think those are extremists, though. Because, if you're a law-abiding citizen, what do you got to hide?
Yeah, but I mean, let's face facts. I mean, law-abiding citizens, every now and again, they go off. I mean,
they do.
They lose their job, their wife bitches at them the wrong way, and the bank takes their house all at the same time. I mean, they can only take so much before something snaps, and hopefully they have the coping skills to deal with it, but sometimes they don't, and they make bad decisions.
See, I don't
need
have...
to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Along with all the bad guys that have that kind of stuff,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going into a place myself, and I don't want to have the hit of that double lot buck. That would suck. I think that could make a really bad day, and I think officers need to be prepared for that, just like our military needs to be prepared for shit.
And the other thing too is that not all of them are. Not all departments are militarized. I don't think. I think most of your militarized departments are in your major cities. I drive to a lot of towns for my job, and I see people pulled over. I see people being arrested. I mean, I drive a truck, so I mean, I see. You know what I mean? And I've yet, in like out where Swansea is, I've yet to see SWAT gear out where Swansea is. Yeah, they have their vests. I'd wear a vest too. I think most departments it's mandatory to begin with, but you don't see the what do you call it, vehicles rolling. It's just not there.
We do have the Bearcat up here though now, Mike.
Well,
is that the little thing with like a backhoe thing on the front?
I can see that only where you are, because maybe not in the town you're in specifically, but I can see Keene having that.
That's what Keene has. They bought that Bearcat. I mean, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and people are giving a rash of shit about it because we don't have terrorist strikes. We don't have places like that. But they bought this I don't even know what it cost. They bought this truck and they exploit it all over the city of Keene, saying that we have this vehicle, we have this.
But
9 times out of 10, we bought it off, or not we, they bought it off the military for $500. Military surplus.
Well, no, I agree. But this past year, our pumpkin festival that happens in Keene every year, there was actual rioting going on where that vehicle actually served a purpose. You know what I mean? I mean, these guys these douchebag college kids were throwing bottles and Mai Tai cocktails at these police officers and all this other shit, which it was nice to have that vehicle and the barricades that they have, that they said this could never happen in small town New Hampshire.
Yeah, and that's why I said I think they need it because of that reason. Because I got my niece goes out there. She goes to Keene. And also that's a huge. That's not some run of the mill you know thousand person freaking campus. That's a freaking campus.
Right. And they had
Absolutely.
nothing to do with the
I'm not
festival
saying
itself
something you
either.
don't know, but you know what I mean. And so I can see Keene getting that. Swansea Police Department says we need this vehicle. Yeah, that's a little funny. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I agree
You know,
100%, buddy.
or Winchester, or wherever. But if Laconia asks for it, yep, give it to them. If Manchester, um, not even Londonderry and Derry, Manchester,
Nashua, Concord.
Nashua, Concord, Laconia, they
Yep.
ask for it, absolutely, I don't have a problem with it. I really
Yep.
don't. I just don't have a problem with it.
Can I have one?
Yeah,
Just
I'll
saying.
send it to Minnesota.
Just saying, man.
I don't
Think
think
I can
there's
get it for
anything in the
$500
books that
for
says you
the month?
can't. You probably won't get it for that price, but you'll have to pay full.
Oh man, I gotta
And
have
I
some
think
fun with
was it
something,
Fuzz? Was it Fuzz Fork? Yeah, Fuzz Fork said cops can go off. You're goddamn right they can. Look at that. Look at that lunatic in what was it, California last year or the year prior that uh, went into the station or was stalking the the superiors that got him fired or whatever. You know, he killed their families and then he went on a rampage for how many days? And
Yeah.
you know, you're not anybody can go off. I mean, nobody is exempt from that. No profession,
Well,
no
California is a
anything.
safe state. Isn't California supposed to be a safe state? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I
You
don't
only need
have
5 rounds.
With all their crazy ass gun laws.
I don't have FTS says so you need an MRAP. I don't I don't
I don't need one, but I'd like to have one.
Is it right?
I
I
need
don't
a new
have
hunting
one.
buggy.
Exactly.
If people even saw across the country, Mike, and you know this personally, what happened at our weird pumpkin festival last year,
Well,
they would totally change their aspect in this small part of the state of New Hampshire, whether or not they feel they need this equipment or not.
yeah,
I mean, you're talking a city that with college in session is 20,000 people.
Yep.
This is a festival that goes off every year. It got out of hand, and the shit that happened where they're taking down street signs, they're taking down light posts, I have no problem with them bringing equipment like that. They should have probably brought in more.
throwing shit at the cops, and the cops weren't doing anything. Now, listen, I know you guys would say, what do the cops do? The cops
What
were
can they do at
standing.
that point? You're talking thousands of college kids.
I know, and they were literally standing there, just standing there.
Yep, I agree.
Shit hit the fan.
And look at what was it, Baltimore, where they were having peaceful protests for how long until the kids got out of school.
Yeah.
I mean, God, how do you? I still look at the videos of, and you know that they're young kids. You know that I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, but I can't honestly tell you that I'd be able to stand there watching somebody run up toward me with a brick in their hand after they've already thrown 4 or 5 near my head without taking action on that. I mean,
Blue, have you
how?
seen
Oh, I
have you
sure as
seen
hell
what
would.
Mike and I are talking about with what happened here in New Hampshire?
No, I'll have to look that up though.
Yeah,
It
look
was
it up.
last year's Pumpkin Festival. It happens every year in the city of Keene, New Hampshire. And these college douchebag kids literally brought in other college towns from around the state of New Hampshire, and they were throwing bottles, cans, rocks, bricks, everything at the police officers, at open crowds, and just went at it constant all night long, tearing down street signs, setting fires. It just went on in a very, very small rural part of New Hampshire.
Yeah, and the police force, you hate to say it, but they probably cowered in a corner until they got some people in there, and then they started pushing back a little bit. But yeah,
But
how's
they were
100
so
people supposed
mellow
to
about
handle
it, though. That's the worst part. Is people bitch about the fact that kids were arrested and shit like that. But these guys, these cops, and that came around from every district around this area, let it happen to an extent where they were tolerable. Then they finally got in there and started doing the beanbag shots and shit like that. They probably should have done it hours beforehand, but they were allowing it to try to fizzle out. And then finally got in there. And when they got in there, they got crews just pounded in our local media about brutality to these college kids.
And that's what pisses me off. See, I look at it this way: if you're being fair warned about something, okay, if you don't leave these streets, you're going to be arrested or you're going to be whatever you want to call it, okay. We're going to take you by physical force, however you want to put it on your little PA system and all that. And these kids are still throwing rocks and bottles and whatever else. Okay, guess what? You're gone. I don't care if you're 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. I don't care how fucking old you are. You're gone. You're gone.
They were tolerable for way too long.
Because here's the thing. Let's say there was a mob of 10 people, right? Throwing rocks and beer bottles and full booze bottles and everything at you. What do?
I'm going to retaliate pretty goddamn quick.
You damn skippy
Not
right.
retaliate. You're going to protect yourself.
You're damn
Well,
right.
they were flipping over cars. You know, that's the other part of it, too. These were parked cars for people watching a pumpkin festival for jack-o'-lanterns, and they were flipping over people's cars and ripping down street signs.
Fuzz, although I may agree with you on what you wrote, however, we gotta remember one thing. You know, you're going into you're going into a situation like that. That's why I said what I said. What if it was us having 10 people throw something at us? We're going to protect ourselves. They have a right to protect themselves. Period.
And there were no fatalities. The police did not cause one fatality, very few injuries, and they should have arrested 10 times the amount of people that were arrested.
Truth. I'm not. Nobody died. Number one, on the fact that we're talking about truth. But let me go one step further. Okay. I'm throwing a beer bottle at a cop. Okay. I'm going to use me. I'm 18, 19. I'm cocked. I'm with my friends from college. That seems like a good thing to do. What the hell? Let's throw bottles at the cops, right? We got nothing better to do. And I'm throwing a bottle at a cop. They shoot me with a beanbag. We're not going to go overboard and say they killed me, okay? But I got hit in the face area with one, okay? And, you know, I break an eye socket, a nose, a cheekbone, whatever. I'm all fucked up. I'm fucked up pretty good. Do I have a right to piss and moan? Fuck no.
Fuck no.
Okay? You don't. It's like this. I'll break it down this way. Everybody wants, now look, and again, I'm with you, okay, because there is more education and they need more education on it, wouldn't it be in, you know, when they're, with the whole thing, okay, whether it's the academy, whatever it is, I'm with you on that. You're not going to, I am 100% with you on that.
Stupid people.
However, if I'm doing something that's stupid, I deserve it. Kind of like if I walk up and I'm cocked and I pick on the biggest friggin' ape in the bar room and I punch him in the nutsack. And then I'm gonna say, oh, you can't hit me back? Or please don't knock me over the head with that bar stool. I only punched you. Too bad. Too bad. You know?
You asked for him to hit you over the head with a bar stool.
Exactly. But hey, FTS, once they start throwing shit, the talking's over, brother. Okay? Uh, it's like me. You know, I disagree with many people. You guys all know this. I mean, come on. But as soon as somebody gets up in my grill, what happens? Why? You know what I'm saying? It's just the way life is. And it shouldn't be different for people that wear badges or people that don't wear badges.
Well, we had
You understand what I'm
an
saying to you?
incident a while
And,
back here.
and give me one sec, Tall. And on the other aspect of that, I
Yeah.
am going to say this, but I hope I don't piss off Blue. I am going to say this, okay? I also don't believe, and I don't know if it's a federal statute or a state statute, but Blue can help me out with this. There's some
Yeah, I just got
law,
back and I had to piss.
okay, there's some law, there's some rule that police departments have that say if they're doing something in the line of duty, i.e., like some of these, my brother was trying to explain it to me the other day. I was getting confused on it. Anyway, the bottom line is that if I'm taking the beating that what's his name did out there in L.A. in the '90s, the '80s, or whatever the hell it was,
Rodney King.
okay, with 6 cops, and I'm taking that beating, if I can still be able to talk, if I'm still able to talk, and I can go, ha cha-ching, cha-ching, okay, and if not, if I can stand up, I'm fucking swinging. Okay, I'm swinging because there isn't a reason on God's green earth why it would take that many people to keep hitting people with batons. Okay, I believe that I should have a right to protect myself if I'm being hit with a baton, especially if I didn't do nothing wrong, because that's just the way I am. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, look the fuck out, and I don't care
Yeah.
who you are.
And Mike, you can agree with me. Every chat that I've been on with you or the chats that you've caught me on with other people, I'm all about accountability. You know,
Absolutely.
you fucking, yeah, these cops that are out, and there are, I'm not going to disagree with the people in the comments. I mean, even though as like, fucking stupid people every now and again, that's what I'm thinking. I say it out loud every now and again. You know, I don't completely disagree with the comments that are being made, but I mean, goddamn, we need to get back to accountability, and it's accountability on everybody, from the citizens
Yep.
to the police departments to the judges to the lawyers to everybody. Instead of rounding the wagons around these people that are truly wrong, and I'm talking, police, citizens, whatever. You know what? If you killed somebody unjustifiably, instead of gathering everybody around and, oh well, whatever excuse they come up with, no, you're done. I mean, you're not going to fix the problem without accountability. And the only way to start the accountability, which is starting to happen now in some of the states at least, they're being charged. There's still cops in jail for shooting people in the back. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not going to sit here and armchair quarterback and saying who's right, who's wrong, but at least somebody in some states are trying to to make it right, and it comes down to the accountability. If the cop fucks up and he shoots somebody that he shouldn't have, guess what? You're arrested, you lose your job, and you're probably going to face jail time. And that's the only way to get back to I don't want to say a society that trusts the police, but a society that says, all right, well, at least if the police fuck up, they're going to get in as much trouble as we are if we fuck up.
And the other thing is that
Right.
you just gotta. I've always looked at it this way. You may not like something, someone, whatever. I'm really not fond of lawyers. I'm really not fond of a lot of different business types. Okay, you just gotta respect them, and things go easier. Mr. Tully, I cut you off. Would you? And I apologize. Um,
No, that's okay. We had an incident a while back here where there was an officer at a restaurant off duty. He was with another officer at the restaurant and their family, their wives and stuff, having dinner on an outdoor patio. I want to say this was last year. And there was an altercation between the officer and a civilian. and they were basically, they just wanted to hold the officer accountable for his actions, and it raised a whole big stink here in Minnesota. I just I don't understand why that is. I was always taught to be accountable for things that I did.
Yep.
Is there a reason that they don't hold police officers so accountable?
Well, and I will voice an opinion on that, and this is strictly an opinion. However,
Okay.
if, let's say, and I don't know what that brawl had to do with, but I'm
Yeah, I don't
gonna
remember
I'm gonna
either.
make this whole
A while
story
ago.
up. But let's say that I am out screwing somebody's wife. Everybody knows, seriously, everybody knows that I'm a cop. Everybody knows that. And you catch me out at a bar and you think I screwed your wife and you fucking, beat the shit out of me for that, the laws automatically resort back to you just beat up a cop and you knew it was a cop, so therefore it's an aggravated assault. That's not why you beat the shit out of me. You beat the shit out of me because I fucked your wife. That
Yeah, right.
there should
Seems
be
like
accountability on that.
justifiable.
Exactly. But however, if I arrested you for breaking into your neighbor's house and you see me out at a bar and you jump my shit because of it and beat the fuck out of me, then it's a completely different story. But
Totally. I would have expected to be shot then.
it's just, it's just
But that's
the accountability, and I will stress that. I mean, has anybody seen I don't know what sheriff's department it was, but there's a video out there, and it's a minor infraction, but the sheriff car is riding down, it looks like an interstate at, I don't know, at the speed limit or just under, right beside somebody, and the guy's videotaping it, and he's like, here's another sheriff's department guy holding up the traffic line. So he goes, it turns into a 3-lane or a 4-lane, and the guy in it looks like a truck, goes off to the right, speeds up, goes around everybody, gets back in the middle lane, and this cop car speeds up, cuts in front of him, and slams on the brakes, almost causing an accident. If that were to happen in my department and somebody were to, have video of something like that happen, we got fucking light bars on the top of the car or on the roofs to do stuff to stop people for, traffic infractions, not to contribute to the aggressive driving thing. I would have suspended the son of a bitch for, driving like that, and then I would have wrote him a ticket myself for driving like that. I mean, it's just, if you guys haven't seen the video, I wish I remembered the link for it, but it's basically it's a sheriff deputy doing shit that we cite people for every day when they get pissed off on the road, and that shit shouldn't happen. And that's the most minor thing that I can think of that's on video that should have been taken care of immediately. Uh-oh, are we still here?
I am anyway. I'm making some stitch holes, so I turn my volume down or my mic off. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear exactly what you're saying, and I got to agree.
No, fuck the system. Not suspended with
No,
pay. That video that I
no.
saw, that son of a bitch would have been suspended, and I would have wrote him the ticket myself.
Yep. Yeah, the officer should have been doing dangerous shit just because, it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, and if you think about it, we have lights on the car for a reason. If you see an infraction, you stop it. You don't, speed up 5 miles an hour faster, cut in front of the guy and spike the brakes. I mean, this was literally feet within the front of this guy's vehicle. And I saw that and I was like, if anybody ever turned that over to me and said, this is what one of your officers did, I would have gladly have suspended, and I would have gladly have written my own officer a citation for what he just did.
Yeah, that's because that's dangerous.
You're damn right.
For the public. For the public. I mean, let alone the officer.
Yep. Mr. Todd, before I forget, What are you making?
A holster.
Nice. On that note, I know I was remiss. I should have PM'd you and let you know, but I did get my template. And I was like a kid, and I was like a kid in a candy store, and I did cut it out that night. Opened up the envelope. I read your note, and when I got my piece of leather, I put that template on that piece of leather. I traced it all out, and I cut it out. It was like Christmas morning, and I don't know whether I put
Cool.
well, here's the thing: is that I think it was because I was in such a rush, but I'll have to look at it again. I got it in the room, but I'd go get it, but the wife is sleeping. I don't want to wake her up.
Did you cut it out for a lefty?
I think so. You know why? Because when I fold back the strap for the loop, the inside showing. The inside is showing.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, okay.
On that one, it does. Where did I put that?
No,
okay. It's all in your finishing there.
Okay.
Put it in my cabinet here.
Because I thought I goofed. Because I was looking at yours.
Nope.
I went back to your video. Because I favorited all your videos, so when I want to, I can just go boink and go look at them. And
no, the inside when you're looking at it. Okay, so this is the back. Yeah, you just take this one and just fold it right over the back.
Right.
Stitch it down and back. So yeah, that is the inside of the leather that comes around.
It's the inside of the leather. Now, the other thing is that the other question I had for you is that I know we
nice sheath.
Yeah, you and I, it is really. You and I are making, the leather I have, right?
Yes.
Of course, it's softer because it's, when my wife picked it up, she actually picked it up for me, and he said it was 7 ounce, or 6 to 7 ounce.
That should be okay.
Yeah, it's almost like boot leather, almost like your work boots. You know what I mean? But now the inside isn't the inside. Okay, like when you did my wallet, right?
Yep.
And on the inside of my wallet it's nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Okay. On the
How
inside
do you get
of
it
my
that way?
I'm sorry?
How do you get it that way?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah, because you know how mine, you know how the leather is on the inside. It's not. It's almost like.
If it's a good quality leather, this is shit quality, and I don't know how well. If you can see, this is really furry here.
Yeah, that's how mine is. Wicked furry.
Inside was real. It was really nasty, and which sucks. I don't normally buy that.
Okay.
But I ordered it online and had it set aside for me, so all I had to do is go and pick it up. You know, in the essence of speed. The way I take care of that, because right here in the middle, this is all pretty smooth. The way I do it is I'll dye it and let it sit and dry really good. And then I'll dye it again and let it sit and dry. And then I'll take some 240 grit sandpaper or 220 and sand it. Because when you dye it, it's going to stiffen up those fibers so that you can knock them off.
Okay.
So
I'll try that.
That's the way I do it. You know, I've got a.
Because
I think I did a video on something like that. I'll put it up tomorrow.
Okay.
I think I've got one sitting on my computer.
Because the leather I have, yeah, it's really rough on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can salvage that. I mean, I do it all the time when I get, but when I buy my good leather that I'm usually using for holsters and stuff, this one I'm kind of doing. It's basically gonna, not this one, but this is kind of a template. I'm trying a few things with it for working class woodsman's holster.
Oh yeah.
So
that's right too. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, his will wind up being just like this, but out of better leather, because this is kind of shit, and I'm really pissed off about it.
All right, so I'll try that.
Anyway,
I'll get some dye.
Yeah, I'll put that video up.
I'll get some dye and I'll do that.
Yep. I'll put that video up too. If not tonight, tomorrow.
Okay, I'll do that.
And for you guys in the chat room, I'm looking for that video of that sheriff car that did what I'm talking about, and I'm not seeing it right now. But if I find it, I'll give Mikey the link so he can post it.
Good night, Frank. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I was like a kid in a candy store. And I even
Well,
got
that's awesome.
a piece
I'm
of
glad.
because I can't really work in my basement. I don't have a shed or anything like that to work with, so I just I took a piece of we call it Comatex.
Oh, shit, I gotta go inside and plug in. I've got 8% battery left.
All right, brother.
Uh-oh.
It's like a spongy plastic almost.
Yeah, you don't want it too soft.
No.
I mean, you want like the plastic cutting boards. Those work pretty well.
Yeah, so I can use that. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it when you're done. I don't expect you to do a video on it, of course, because some of us have been doing this for a little while.
I did it. I cut it out with a razor blade, and geez, I even had my glasses on, and you know exactly where I'm going with this. And because I stopped, it didn't start in the exact same spot. This places I have little burrs or what have you.
Well, so, yeah, that's to be expected. That's why you sand the edges.
Yeah, an edge bevel is on his way. So
but sand them, and then but I use my I've been doing this long enough. I'm pretty good with a Dremel, so I use my Dremel when I go around the edges. But like this is a stiffener here. And this all has to be done. All my edge beveling, my burnishing, everything has to be done before I glue it on to here.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff. You got to think ahead sometimes, but that pattern's a pretty basic pattern. It's pretty simple. And I'm going to do a couple more sheets like that out of this 7-ounce that I got. Since, Tandy pissed me off, and I got 7-ounce instead of 10-ounce.
Tandy pissed me off, too.
At least they charged me for 7-ounce. They didn't charge me for they charged me for the 6.7 and not the 9.10 that I usually get.
Yeah, they charged my wife the 6.7, but it was $24 for a piece like, I don't know, yay big.
Yeah. Well, and I got this time I was pissed because they were really short. They didn't have any double shoulders, and if I go to a different store, they'll usually stop and they go out and they hand pick everything and take their time, and they'll find me better pieces than I could find on my own.
Yeah.
But this other store didn't do that. I was kind of pissed.
I had to square off one edge too because it was pissing me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife says, "How are you gonna square that?" I says, "A table's square, right?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "That's all I need."
Yep.
That's all I need.
Keep a good ruler. I keep steel rulers.
Yeah, that's what I took a ruler from work.
I've got a 12-inch, 18-inch.
Yep.
And I've got a small square, and I've got a bigger square.
I also have
all kinds of little tools that you just have when you're doing this all the time.
The plastic. I call them plastic paper clips. They're about yay wide. And I found one at work. I'm like, wow, that has a lot of friggin' bite to it. So then the HR girl, and I said, hey, she says, what? I goes, where do I get these? She was Staples. I said, I need like friggin' 15 of them. And she goes, okay, I'll order you some. I said, thank you. So
Yeah, I just, these little clips that I use, these are just cool as
yeah,
shit.
I saw those
They're
at the
just
hardware
neat.
store the
Just
other day.
Yeah, and they're cheap. They're
Yeah,
like
they're not bad. They're like
$5 a
$1.
dozen or something.
Yeah, they're
I
not
bought
bad.
a
They're only
couple
like
of them.
$1.
They're
Not
just
even
handy
$1.
as heck to have.
Yep.
They don't go out by the welder though. They just stay
Now,
here.
do you need? Should I use like? I noticed in your video you didn't, because you said it wasn't going to be on long, so it wasn't going to hurt the leather, and because your leather was stiffer. Um, like, should I get like a? Don't laugh at me, but here's what I was thinking. I was thinking like maybe like some kind of a, I don't know, like a popsicle stick or something foolish,
No,
and
no.
just
If you use anything, use
yeah,
scrap leather.
okay,
Because that's, I keep pieces. God, I could have thrown some in the bag in the envelope for you. But I'll just keep that, and I'll just, go
and then,
bend it over
right,
and clip over it. Because it,
just so it
like
doesn't.
wood is too rigid.
Oh, okay,
All you need to do is keep the jaws from making a mark. So just use
right,
scrap leather. I just use little 2 to 3 ounce leather for my stuff like that.
okay.
Now I keep a pile of little pieces of it here, little scrap pieces.
Yeah, FTS pretty much a road clip. You got it, buddy.
So yeah, just use leather scraps because it's still pliable. And it could be like if you got like an old wallet or something to cut apart, or some thinner leather, you can cut something like that apart. It doesn't have to be real heavy leather to do that. Just so it doesn't get
Oh,
marred because it's probably wet,
Jason, let me Jason, I'll have an answer for you in 5 seconds. Let me ask Mr. Tolley for you. Mr.
Uh-oh.
Tolley,
Yeah.
Jason McDaniel asked a question. He says, does anyone know how to attach metal snap buttons to leather? I've already ruined 2
Yeah.
sets. Can you
Yeah.
explain that to
There's
Jason?
a whole kit for doing that. Yeah, there's a whole kit for doing that. Matter
Jason,
of
here's what I
fact,
would do.
I just have
Go
it
ahead.
sitting on my bench here. You've got an anvil.
Let me
I know I've
lock on
showed
you.
all this in the video before.
Let me lock on you there, Scott. Hang on a minute. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I don't have all the right pieces here, but your snap will have a piece like this, and a piece like this, and a piece that I don't have sitting here. Here, maybe this one. Yeah, there's one in here. I try to keep my different colors and snap stuff separated. So you'll have the male and the female part of the snap. You'll have the button or the side that you don't see, and then you have the side that you do see. Usually I'll stick to the line 24 snaps as opposed to the line 20 because they're heavier duty. But on your anvil, if you buy the kit, and I got too much light behind me. Try moving some stuff here. Try to get some of that glare out. Well, that didn't help, did it?
That's good right about
But this
there.
is kind of, yeah, it's kind of dished out here for the rounded part of the snap to fit in there. So you'll put that in there in your piece of leather, and then the other half. Let's see if I can just move this and put one together real quick. I'll make a hole. Okay, I got my hole in my leather. This is the good side. This is the bad side. So the part like this is just a little. Let's see.
Almost looks like a washer.
Right. Well, it's a little stud, kind of,
Okay.
but it's
Yep.
hollow. So that'll usually go to the backside. Now it kind of depends on how you're doing, but stick that right through your leather and you'll see that it'll stick through. And then your other piece, this would be the male part of the snap, just sits right over the top. So it kind of goes together like that.
Right there, Scott. That's good.
Now I'm going to aim this down, so hopefully you'll be able to see. And things will get a kind of jerky. Now I want to use the flat side of my anvil, because this doesn't need, it's not the dished out, or it's not the button side. Just make sure you're all centered. And if you look at your punch, you can see what that looks like. The pin in the middle just goes right in the center. And you just kind of hold everything all together. Wrap it with a hammer a couple of times. And that mushrooms over that hollow stud so that it holds everything on.
That's cool.
And it's just exactly the same for the other side. So, there's your little chat tutorial, real quick, like I hope. I hope that helps. I know I've done it in videos before, but God only knows how long ago that was. I've only been doing this for almost 4 years now.
How do I, I'm trying to put a link out in the chat room, and I don't know how to do it. They won't let me copy that link he just gave me.
No, they probably won't. If Jason wants more, tell him to PM me, and I'll just do a video on it.
Yeah, Mike, you should just be able to
They won't let me.
highlight it.
I did.
And then right-click, copy, and then paste.
I did that. I highlighted it, and my little box says copy shortcut. It doesn't say copy. Copy shortcut.
Okay, just hit your control button with your C button.
Yeah.
Like highlight it, hit Control C, and then take it down to the chat window, and hit Control and then the V button, and that'll put it on there. And then hit Enter. It should.
Okay, yeah, I did.
That's the video.
Yeah. Oh, it's more than 315 characters.
What?
It says it won't let me because it's more than 315 characters.
Mother son of a pickle.
Hang on, let me see if I can do it this way.
Now that's one way to say it that I've never heard before.
All right, if you type in
Hang on,
watch
hang on.
out-of-state cop brake check a driver, that should come
I
up.
don't think that was it. Oh, you know what? That did the whole thing. Hang on a second. I opened up the link, and I'll do it from there. I bastard. I hope that works, guys. Guys, let me know if that works.
So, Mike,
Yeah,
I'm going to
that
try
looks
another
like a
one of
link.
those Morris sheets. I'm
I'm
going to do
sorry?
another one of those Morris
That
sheets.
works. Mike's link will work.
Cool. I'm going to do another Mora sheath, except instead of stitching it, I'm going to lace it.
Oh, nice.
Kind of some woven lace. Something that I've never done before, so I'm trying to learn
Now, do you
a little bit of
use,
lacing.
You use the little tiny eyelet grommets for that, or do you just
No,
hole to hole?
I'll use my lacing chisel. It
Okay.
cuts a really wide slot instead of a hole. It cuts a slot. That's what I'm going to use for that.
Okay.
And then I got meat. A spool
Now,
of lace.
How do you know which is which?
What do you mean? Which
How do you know
chisel is
what's
which?
Yeah.
This is the small one.
Wow.
This is a 4mm?
Yeah, I got one of those. That's the one I got from Johnny. I have a 2-pronger. I have a 4-pronger.
Yeah, I've got a 1, 2, 4, and 6 prong.
Something
And
like
this
that.
is pretty much all I use. It's a 4mm spacing. It works out pretty well for me.
Cool.
Some people say, for doing wallets and stuff, they like to use a smaller spacing, like a 2mm. And I suppose I would if I was using like calfskin or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to buy those, but these are 4mm spacing on a 5mm tine.
Okay.
So I don't know if that shows up real well, but yep. And these are Japanese or Taiwanese or something. I don't know. I didn't spend a ton of money for them because I didn't know if I'd like them. And I've had them for a long time now. They've made a lot of holes. So I guess I got lucky.
All right. Jason, you still here? Mr. Tolley said if you PM him on his, on his channel, he'll take care of all your questions on snaps.
I just have to wait a couple of days because I'm working 10-hour shifts the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, so just do him.
And I figure if one person has the question, somebody else must have it too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be asking a ton more, so don't worry about it.
I mean, because that's just the way it is.
Yeah. All right. It's getting to be the 1:30 hour.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I have to do I'm involved in a fundraiser tomorrow for a charity my wife and I belong to. Well, she belongs to it. I just help her out. So I think we're gonna end the chat. I'm gonna say thank you to everybody that was out there tonight saying gear, FTS. Frank was out there, Jason McDaniel, Michelle and Dish coming in, Batman.
Chad showed up and didn't say nothing?
Yeah, he just said a couple of things in the Tyler East showed up. Thank you, Tyler, Frank, Buzzfork. Pies and Gorilla, Kelly Parks, all you guys showed up.
We were just venting for the night.
Oily Prepper, Jay Watt, thanks a million for coming in. Yeah, I tried not to make it a.
That was a good chat for what I was here of.
Gia, before you leave, Gia, did you you were talking about a video earlier. Did I miss a video you did? Did you do another racing video? Yeah, FTS, I will. I was just at my son's football game tonight, and we played my wife and I's old high school. So, all my family was there because my kid brother coached the opposing team.
Hey, how dare you put personal life in front of YouTube?
I'm not going to take his hammer away. The man's hammering away, man.
What? Am I annoying people? I can wait. I don't have to do this.
No, you ain't annoying nobody. This is my chat.
I annoy a lot of people.
My chat. Ohio Wolverine when he comes back. But at any rate, and to you guys, to Mr. Tolley and Blue and Swansea Searcher for helping me out. That was really cool. I appreciate you guys doing this for me, coming in with me. And,
Is this my first Quagmire?
no, I've had you on a
I think
Quagmire.
this is.
Is it?
Weren't you on last week?
No, I had you on the Quagmire.
I don't think.
Come on.
We'll have to look. I'm in the chat quite a bit, but
I think you were on last week.
I might have been.
I thought you were. Yeah, because I was up in the trailer. You were on with us.
Yep.
All right, Gear. Thanks, man.
Oh.
All right.
I try to get on every week.
Yeah. So we're gonna get out of here. And I'll see you all. We'll see you all next week. Alrighty. So.
Thanks for coming.
As Gear Gryden would say, have a good one.
Have a good one.